Hello, my name is Dylan Warner, and this is my presentation on how individual differences have an impact on second language acquisition, influenced by Allison Mackey and Susan Gass. More specifically, I will be talking about the educational level of learners and how this level frames the way we must educate those with and without literacy. There has been a substantial amount of research that involves adult participants who have native language literacy. Alternatively, surprisingly little research on how different degrees of schooling influence L2 learning has been done. It is only assumed that L2 fluency and education are reciprocal. Most SLA theories can only be applied responsibly to highly educated individuals. Therefore, much of the following information pertains to non-print literate adults and first language acquisition. Many researchers maintain the perspective that literacy and formal education create distinct intellectual processes manifested in distinct ways of understanding and acting in the world. It is vital that instructors be aware of outside factors, such as psychological and religious issues or cultural discrepancies, and how they affect a learner's cognitive and linguistic development. According to Piaget, all people go through stages: sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operations, and none can be skipped. Non-print literate adult L2 learners may get stuck in Piaget's pre-operational or early concrete operational thought stage due to a lack of experience and specific social interactions that support literacy. As mentioned in Mackey and Gass's text, this is a sensitive subject, as non-literate adults still have sophisticated skills, but ones that don't transfer well into the target culture. Educational level is often determined by self-reports, transcripts, or informal teacher evaluations. This can create problems, because educational level does not perfectly correspond to any one skill level. The definition of educated is more fluid, relating not only to the individual, but the individual's culture and other socio-political contexts. Besides being inaccurately labeled, illiterate learners may have traveled an unfathomable journey and crossed many barriers to get where they are today. Many learners who lack formal learning have also experienced traumatic situations that can negatively impact how they retain new information, especially symbolic information. After overcoming the obstacles of inaccurate assessment, immigration, culture shock, and trauma, non-print literate adults must still learn new skills and behaviors and learn how to use language in ways other than communication. A lack of print literacy can alter how oral language is perceived. Research has shown semantic memory is equal between adults with or without formal schooling, but adults with prior literacy do better in metalinguistic conversations. On the other hand, illiterate adults in oral-based cultures have difficulty with tasks requiring language awareness. Research in the early 80s shows that oral cultures care more about pragmatics, getting their point across however they can. These findings recall the point that scriptural cultures prioritize elaborate syntactics, while oral cultures are more concerned with pragmatics, using whatever works to communicate meaning in context. Further research shows that adult learners with a low level of literacy or no literacy often cannot mark word boundaries, have problems with word repetition tasks, and are generally less systematic in scanning their field of vision. Quoted, "Language learners with emerging print literacy started their learning process with a non-systematic visual strategy, in which they try to seek correspondences between visual or context clues and meaning, gradually learning to use the strategy of sequential decoding." These adults can benefit greatly from explicit metalinguistic instruction because they may view language as concrete, preventing them from conceptualizing the language. Limited formal schooling can be both an instructional and a programmatic challenge. Teachers must have the skills to make academic content comprehensible, largely through the oral mode at first. Likewise, programs cannot separate language and content learning because students need both to make progress towards graduation. To properly teach L2 learners with little formal schooling, many factors must be taken into consideration. Many questions have yet to be answered, such as, do these learners retain orally acquired information longer than usual? Are they better at clarifying oral information? Should literacy concepts be taught in the native language of the learner? Should the learners be placed in a separate class for literacy instruction? Not only that, but the ease of learning variational features of grammar is affected by literacy. There are many questions about learners without formal education, like how they can use previously learned skills to reach their goals, that need further research. Finally, by guiding learners towards literacy, we unavoidably participate in the extinction of a way of life based on orality, relationality, memory, and context. Mackey and Gass. Educators should find a way to respect where these learners are coming from, what they bring with them, and what they can do with it. Overall, even though an individual's educational level has a large impact on their academic journey, there are many determining factors that play into why the individual has limited prior schooling. When teaching these individuals, it is best to keep these factors in mind. Thank you.